Hello, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started as we have a few more folks joining us here at the top of the hour. Welcome to day 2 of the CASE, NCSEA, and SEI Joint Leadership Summer Series on Artificial Intelligence. Our second webinar is being presented by CASE, titled AI Strategy for Engineering Leaders, What You Need to Know. Thank you so much for joining us today. At any time, you may adjust your audio using any computer volume settings that you may have. Today, our presenter will be using Mentimeter for his Q&A. He will be giving you instructions on how to use that in just a moment, and will also be providing that information during the session if you miss it. We will leave the Q&A feature open for any administrative questions you might have. As a reminder, this session is being recorded and will be made available to registrants in the next few weeks. Also joining us today is our moderator, Rob Otani with Thornton Tomasetti. Rob, I'll turn it over to you now to introduce today's speaker.
Thank you. I'm going to introduce Mehdi. It's my great pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Mehdi Nurbash, an engineer, innovator, and CEO of YegaTech, a technology consulting firm that helps AEC organizations integrate artificial intelligence with strategy and operations. Dr. Mehdi brings over 2 decades of experience at YegaTech, Autodesk, and Georgia Tech, specializing in the intersection of AI and the built environment. He holds 8 U.S. patents for AI applications in AEC and manufacturing, and played a pivotal role in developing HackRod, the world's first AI design car, featured in Fast Company. He's the author of 2 best-selling books, Augment It and Disrupt It, which offers engineers and leaders a roadmap to navigate emerging technologies without losing sight of technical rigor and real-world constraints. Mehdi holds a bachelor's degree in civil instructional engineering, a master's degree in construction management, another master's in computer science, and a PhD in design computation, both from Georgia Tech. Today's session, titled AI Strategy for Engineering Leaders, will explore how AI is reshaping the AEC industry and how engineering firms can strike the right balance between innovation, governance, and long-term strategy. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mehdi Nurbash.
Thank you, Rob. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for being here. It's an honor and pleasure today to talk a little bit about AI strategy, especially for engineering firms, and how leaders need to think about how should they prepare their companies for the era of AI. So before I get started, I just wanted to mention that we have a Q&A session open right now in the Mentimeter. So you can just scan this QR code or just type in menti.com and put this code in there, 53459115, and then you'll be able to access the Q&A part. At any time, if you have a question, you can just post it there. And if you also see the questions that you like to be answered, you can upvote them. So at the end of the session, we're going to spend some time to look at the most voted questions, and we are going to start answering those questions right there. All right, so with that, I also want to mention that I will have a QR code for the slides, so you can download the slides directly after this session. All right, so let's get started. My journey in AI and structural engineering started almost more than 2 decades ago when I had to make a really big decision. And the decision I had to make was, going between civil and structural engineering as a major or computer science. So I had this big dilemma before, I'm from Iran, and in Iran, you can choose which major you want to go. And this is a really big decision. So I went to principal's office and I said, look, I have my uncles that have a civil engineering company and a structural engineering company. They guaranteed my work, and I'm so passionate about computer science. And which direction should I go? Should I become a computer engineer, or should I go into to the structural engineering field? So I went to the principal's office. The principal wasn't there, and I saw a random person. I have never met him. But I started talking to him about this, and I said, "Hey, I came here today with this decision." And he basically told me he was graduated from the computer science, and he told me one thing that really changed my life. He gave me advice that now when I look back, everything that I accomplished in my professional career, from all the patents that I published, writing 2 books about this topic, from helping AEC firms, doing keynotes, advisory board, everything that I accomplished. And right now we train more than 9,000 AEC professionals in our industry. Everything that I accomplished came from this advice, and that was, he said, future belong to the subject matter experts who know how to code. Future belongs to the subject matter experts who know how to code. So the moment I've heard that, he said, basically his explanation was, if you just go to the computer science and get a degree there, you can write codes, but you don't know real world problems much. But if you go and get an engineering degree, become a structural engineer, you will learn a lot of real world problems, and you can self-study, computer science. And this was the advice that he gave me. And this is what I did for the rest of my career. I was the one that I had a big C++ book, and I was studying those before even going into the engineering school. So why do I share this? I share this because now, everything that I learned on my own, even at Georgia Tech, I did a master's in computer science. Everything that I learned is all the capabilities that I gain over time is now accessible to everyone with the help of AI. So now all these coding capabilities are available to you, every employees that you have, and every peers, every teams, and your organization. So let me explain a little bit about that. So AI, is a very old field, and it's a field in computer science started in 1950s, and that was like a classical era of AI. In 2012, deep models and deep learning was introduced, and in 2022, the foundational models and tools like ChatGPT came in. So every year we had a breakthrough in the past several years in AI, and now we are in the era of multi-AI agents, and this is what is going on right now. But what does that impact the field of the structural engineering? How does that impact the field of the structural engineering? So this is an example that I brought for you today. This is a vision agent from landing.ai. When you type in, like you just type in how many people are in this image and you upload the image, there are 3 AI agents that are working together to basically write the code for you and give you the answer. So you see, these are the codes based on your question. These are the codes that these AI agents wrote, and also they provide the answer. So let me kind of back this up a little bit. When you're doing computer science and when you take the algorithm class, they teach you like how you can break a really big problems into a smaller chunk of problems, and how should you kind of start tackling these smaller problems and write codes for them. How to maybe look out in GitHub or other resources to find how other people solve this problem, maybe grab some of the free APIs. And this is exactly these 3 AI agents are doing here. So the first AI agent is creating instructions, so converting that big problem into smaller problems. The second AI agent is actually looking for tools out there, so retrieving tools. And the third AI agent is generating codes and connecting everything together. And now you can have this code, computer code, in your environment. You can just copy and paste it, and you can run it in the environment of your choice. So the point is, everything that all these years computers, scientists go through is now available to you and everyone in your organization. Now, Penn State put this into a test, and basically they hosted a competition between all different, schools. And what they found was that, you know, tools like ChatGPT leveled the playing field for programmers versus non-programmers and broaden access and participation of diverse students in the competition. So Roderick Lee, who's the associate professor of information technology, says that the 52 teams represented the richest of diversity that the college offered. So basically, what happened was that everybody from a school of law and math and engineering, computer science, all of the students came together to compete in the competition because now everybody could become a coder. And that's why this is Jason Hong from NVIDIA. He's the CEO of NVIDIA. And he says basically recently that for the first time, you can imagine that everybody in your company is being a technologist. And this is a tremendous time for innovation. And the technology divide has been closed. What does that mean? Meaning that for many years you had a problem and you had to explain it to a technologist to solve that problem for you, whether they want to solve it or not. You're trying to kind of influence them or persuade them. That time is over. Now, every person in your company has this capability to leverage this AI technology to write code and solve the specific problems that you have. Another thing that he mentioned and I found really interesting is that now you have a computer that will do what you tell it to do. And that could help you to automate and amplify your work, increase productivity, and so on. So you just need to, natural language processing is now the language of computer. So natural language is the language of the computer. You just can tell it what you want to do and it will do it for you. Now, what does that mean? It means that now every single company in the AC industry and beyond now is a technology company. If you have data, if you have access to AI and technology, you can develop smaller tools and solutions for yourself to solve your own problems. And that's why it's unprecedented time for innovation in our industry. So that said, that now we have very good tools that can solve our problems, but let's talk a little bit about different types of opportunities or problems that exist in our industry. Not all the opportunities are the same. We have different types of opportunities. And everything that I'm sharing right now is actually available in my book that I co-wrote with Sam, Disrupted. So the second book that I wrote. So these are some of the nuggets from the book that I'd like to share with you. So when you look at the industry problems or opportunities, not all of them are the same. If there is a concept called TAM or total addressable market, okay, and what it means is that if you can uh, develop a solution for a given problem and you can sell it to everyone in the industry, everyone in the world that has that problem, in theory, how much money you can make. So let me give you an example. Let's say you found a new vaccine and there is for a new disease that came, and this is maybe pandemic 2.0, God forbid. So 8 billion people, and you can sell the vaccine for $1, and the TAM would be 8 billion times 1 would be $8 billion. If you sell your vaccine for $2, 8 billion times 2, $16. So this is the total addressable market you have. In practice, whether or not you're going to actually sell it, that's another question. But this is how you can calculate TAM. So a lot of our problems that are common in the industry, these are the problems, let's say, related to finance and HR and things like marketing. So every single company has that in the industry. Those are the problems that have huge TAMs, because if you can sell a $30,000 license per year to all the companies in the industry around the world, so this could be $1 billion TAM. Okay, so these are the problems that have huge TAM, or basically are common industry problems. The second type of problems are maybe $100 million problems. And what does that mean is that if you develop a solution for a very specific sector, so the sector, let's say, is a hospital design, or patient bed design, or things like that, that is very specific to a sector. You develop a solution for a stadium seating. How many stadiums do we build in a country or in the world? So the TAM of these solutions are kind of $1 million. And the last one is very unique problems or opportunities for a very, specific company. These are opportunities that are very specific to you and to not, doesn't apply to every company in the industry. Maybe there's, certain data that you have that is very unique to you, or maybe it's a problem or it's your secret sauce, the way that you do things that is very unique to you. And these are the opportunities that have a very smaller TAM, because maybe one or two or handful of companies in the industry have those opportunities. Now, I shared all of this because when we advise the technology company in the industry, we say you need to look for opportunities with huge TAM. You develop a solution once, you sell it to every company in the industry. Now, when we work with the AEC companies, um, we advise them to look for the opportunities that are unique to you. The reason is that if the opportunities that you want to solve and get rid of, or the problems that you want to get rid of, is a opportunity with huge TAM, there should probably a solution out there, or somebody is working on it at the moment outside, and you should just adopt those technology. Whereas if this is an opportunity that is unique to you, uh, and because it has a small TAM, there won't be a big appetite to solve that problem. And therefore, you should start thinking about maybe how we can address that challenge internally. Okay, so this is a differentiation on, as you hear these new opportunities that everybody in the company comes up with, you got to think about, is this something that everybody has, or this is really unique to us? And this way you can start filtering those opportunities. Now, to give you a few examples, there was a consulting company in Middle East that reached out to us, and they had a senior bridge designer that, let's call him Tom. Tom just could look at the valley and look at some of the environmental studies and say, okay, based on this valley that I see and based on what I see, this is a bridge concept that we should go for. He's been doing this for 40 years, and he was very experienced. And all the other engineers, all the junior engineers, after he was giving the bridge concept, you basically started doing a schematic design and detailed design and things like that. So the company wanted to, he was getting to the retirement age, and the company wanted to see how they can mimic his capabilities. So one thing that we help them do is that they look at all the 40 years of bridge design that he's done. They capture all the data and augmented the data and everything. And at the end of the day, we're able to host that into their Microsoft environment. So they create an AI system that could predict the bridge concept based on all the data existed in their environment. And this way, the junior engineers could use that to get the results they want. At the beginning, this AI system wasn't working well, but as Tom put in more and more data and started correcting the results of the AI system, it got a lot better at the end of the day. So that's another and one example of how you can start looking into what are the things that makes you unique and makes your company unique, and how you could apply AI to those. Let me give you another example. So this is ConnectStech. ConnectStech is a design, manufacturing, and construction company. So they have this steel system And basically what they do is that as the project comes in, so they're very fast. If traditional conventional steel can be done in 3 months, they can, assemble this structure in 2 weeks. So they're really, really fast. And the challenge that they had was that, let me pause the video here. The challenge that they had was that the structural engineering team, it was taking a long time for the structural engineering team to come up with the design. And this was in their kind of bidding phase where they want to bid on a new project, but they had to do the structural design. And because project requirement changes all the time, so one of the bottlenecks in the project was the structural design and estimating of the new project. So the business team, this business development team, had an interest in a project, and they wanted to figure out how to kind of what team they will be available to deliver that project. And usually it took like 2 months for them to express interest to have a number to bid on projects. So what we did, this was my previous company. We basically said, what if the business team can come up with different scenarios, and we build 3 AI systems for the structural engineers, so that the first AI system can predict the location of columns. The second AI system can predict the thickness of beams and columns. And the third AI system is an optimization engine, and it take these as an input and optimizes the design based on all the code requirements and compliance. So how does that look like for the structural engineers part? It basically, structural engineers get two different kind of alternatives that business team identified. The first AI system placed the location of columns, and now the structural engineer is actually modifying the results of the AI system, because AI is not going to slam the drawing. Structural engineers do. So the second AI system now predicts the thickness of beams and column, and this is the third AI system where you can basically optimize the structure based on all the loading conditions. All the dots that you saw, it was just one design. And this way you can kind of compare and decide which design alternative you want to choose. Are you going to go, Connexit going to do all the process, procurements, fabrication, and do the assembly on site, or Connexit is going to bring another company to do that? These two execution scenarios have two different designs that is optimized for that, as well as building codes and all the requirements. So the point I'm making here is that the AI system can help you to design faster, and at the same time, you as the structural engineer need to start looking into how to validate the results of these AI systems. And we also, there is a section you will see in a moment where you can import this into a robot structural analysis and do all sorts of validation. And when you change the parameters in that, you can it will change bi-directional data entry. So you can visualize that in CAD. And if you change anything here, it will be, also change in this tool. This is a tool that's not available outside, just want to mention. So this is also all the validation that is available. So this is another example of how you can think about what are the things that is unique to you. So with this, Connextech was able to reduce the time of projects, bidding on projects from 8 weeks to 8 hours. And that was a huge difference that this tool made in the hands of the restructuring engineers. Every design here had an automated QTO, so all the quantity takeoffs was there. So it was a really good tool to be able to compare, how they should strategize for bidding, and how compare and decide between different design alternatives. And the last example I brought for you today is about how we can preserve the knowledge of our experts in the company. So this is Reid Hoffman, the co-founder and executive chairman on LinkedIn. And Reid has written lots of different books and weblogs and you name it. So Reid decided one day that he decided to create a virtual clone of himself, his digital twin, and he fed in all his data into this digital twin. And the video that I'm about to show you is his digital twin. There might be some lags between the video and the audio, but please bear with me on that.
Read AI, introduce yourself to everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here today. I'm an AI-generated version of Reid Hoffman, his digital twin. My thinking and everything I am saying comes from a custom GPT that is based on 20 years of Reid talking and making content. So I've read all his books, watched his speeches, and listened to his podcasts. I think it gives me a pretty good sense of how you approach the world, Reid.
So first, I'm going to challenge Read AI with some questions to see what it can do and how good its content is in mirroring what I might say.
Then the tables will turn, and I will challenge you with some questions about AI and tech.
Of course, there's a second question, whether or not I'll answer.
Well, okay. Challenge accepted.
Let's get started. Let's take a real piece of work for me, blitzscaling. I wrote a 336-page book. And how do you explain it in one sentence? To a smart person, to a 5-year-old, well, for the Star Trek fans, in Klingon, and as Jerry would explain it in Seinfeld.
Okay, condensing your entire strategy from a 336-page book into one sentence, and starting with the explanation for the smartest person in the world. Blitzscaling is a strategic acceleration of organizational growth to seize market dominance by prioritizing rapid expansion over efficiency, leveraging capital and network effects to outpace competitors in winner-takes-all markets, despite the attendant risks to scalability and operational stability. Now, for a 5-year-old, blitzscaling is like building the biggest tower super fast before anyone else, even if it gets a bit messy, so you can be the leader of the tower game. And now for a Klingon, blitzscaling pus vittelheg duj luchar glutavistelhab a dochvam viol, hoc competition vipo q a market dahara. And finally, like Jerry, in a Seinfeld episode, blitzscaling, it's when a company decides to floor it on the highway of business, ignoring the speed limit, racing to be the first to that big golden market share in the sky, all while hoping they don't run out of gas or, hit a tree. It's like, who cares if we're burning cash like it's a bonfire? We're getting to the front of the line, baby. Efficiency? Please, that's for those in the slow lane watching us fly by.
Awesome. So now, that's why there's an unprecedented opportunity for innovation in your company. So no matter which level you are, if you just started, if you're at the senior executive level or anywhere in between, there is an opportunity for innovation and starting doing things slightly differently in your company. So that's where you kind of need to think internally, see where can we find those opportunities. So when you think about that, not every company has been reacting to AI in the same way. So in our book Disrupted, we talk a little bit about where the companies are in the AEC industry. So this book is written specifically for CEOs, executives, and board members in the AEC firms, and how should they prepare their companies for the era of AI. So I'm going to introduce each level, and then we're going to do an activity where you will kind of put a pin on where you think your company is today. So as I explained, you need to judge kind of, okay, maybe our company is almost here or almost there. So by standard are the companies that are taking no action. So they're doing nothing with regards to AI. And they hear about it, they think it's going to go away and they do nothing. Consumers are the ones that, employees are using AI, like maybe shadow AI, but they haven't got enough training to know all the, risks of AI, and they're just consuming it without knowledge of risk and not having a policy in place and things like that. Tinkerers are the companies that start exploring AI, so using this tool and that tool, but they don't have a strategy around it. It's just random experimentation and exploration, and they're struggling to get a really ROI out of that. Adopters are the ones that have that defined AI strategy. They're integrating those into their day-to-day work and solutions, and they're kind of in an emergent mode. And the strategic innovators are the companies that started seeing this as an opportunity to align their culture, their business model, and their operating model. And we explain all of these, in details in the book. So companies are, mostly inactive, the one at the below, then become reacting to the, but the companies are in the top are proactive on how they can leverage these tools to accelerate their business strategy. Okay, so now I would like you to think about which level your company is at today, and then scan this QR code that is in here. So scan this QR code, and then it will ask you to put a pin on one of these levels. So you can either put a pin right here in the gray area, or anywhere in the white area if it gets too populated. All right, I see that pins are coming. Maybe I'll go. All right, I go to this one, show you what I see on my screen. Keep it coming. So lots of companies are in the tinker mode. Maybe I'll wait for another minute here. Keep it coming. We had 160 responses. Amazing. All right, all right. Awesome. So, as you can all see, most of the companies seems to be at this tinkering stage. So there are tools here and there that people are testing and working on, but overall that doesn't add up to something bigger for the company. So how to go from kind of exploration to integration? The first thing that you need to have is having a defined AI strategy that is in line with your business strategy. Okay, so Vince DePaffy, the CEO of SSOE, says, like, if you do it the right way, your AI strategy is the accelerator of your business strategy. And your data strategy will be the accelerator, basically in line with your AI strategy. So they're all really connected. All right, so I'm going to go back to the slides. And so how to prepare your company for this new era? You got to start with your culture. We are structural engineers. It's very hard to culturally, it's difficult for us to have a project that fails. And a lot of AI projects, you need to kind of test it, fail, learn, and move on. And culturally, we need to kind of establish that culture in the organization that, hey, it's okay if this AI project doesn't work. So we talk about that cultural aspects and having a growth culture and not a fixed mindset and those type of things. How should we start thinking about our new business models, how we can make money in the new era of AI. What are different ways that we can generate revenue? And also, how does that AI impact our operation? Do we have a procedure for delivering data, our data, to the company? We have oftentimes procedure for delivering to the client, but not all the times having a procedure to deliver the data to the company. What are the procedures and the operational things that we need to consider? So, and next in augmented, we talked about strategy. So how to create an AI strategy for a company. So we often form the AI task force in the companies, and these are people in your company that are responsible for AI, from junior employees to senior employees and all the way in between from different offices. So we help them to look into some of their existing problems and also with the strategic business opportunities for the company. What are the things that if we could accomplish with the help of technology or AI could bring tremendous value for the company down the road? And based on those, we will start kind of capturing all of those, prioritizing them, finding a solution for them. And I established this framework and published a book 6 months before ChatGPT came to market. And a lot of the companies like around the world are using it today to develop their AI strategy. On our website, in the free resources, we have a workbook for augmented that you can download and just start implementing these in your company. Now, we talked about the strategy, we talked about opportunities, and these are awesome and great. And at the same time, we got to be thinking about AI governance. So what is AI governance? Is basically some of the rules, procedure, guidelines that you need to implement in your organization so that you can minimize the risk of AI. Fei-Fei Li, one of the Stanford professor, described AI as like the fire. So you can cook and get nutrition with the fire. And also, if you're not careful, the fire can burn your house. And this is very dangerous. So as the employee or leader in your organization, you got to be thinking about how should you govern AI in your company. Every day on the news, you hear about how AI generated results and responses that were not good and accurate. And in our world, in the structural engineering world, if AI is 1% wrong, that without having the right checks and balances, that could result into major risk for the company. What are the sources of this risk? Like it could have reputational risk, it could bring legal risk, ethical risk, financial risk, and it could burn the company if we're not careful enough about that. So what are the sources of the AI risk? The sources come from three different directions. One is data. Is there a bias in data and things that you need to consider? The algorithms, because you use data and algorithms to create the solutions. Are these algorithms biased? Or the people? Who are the people who've developed these AI tools and solutions? Are they biased towards certain things that you're not aware of? So in general, you need to kind of find the right balance between the governance and also your kind of innovation and competency in AI. So the x-axis is the governance. In the y-axis is how competent you are in your AI journey. We just talk about that from that angle. So most of us were kind of in the middle or below. And in the right side is what is your competency? Do you have privacy, governance, security, all of these sorted out, or you're still kind of defining those? So I want you for a moment to think about which quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4, do you think your company is today? Are you open to innovate and do things. So from low to high, you can kind of find a place there. And what are the governance and policies and kind of security restrictions that you have? Is it low? Is it loosey-goosey, or you have very strict rule in place? So I want you now to scan this QR code and pin where do you think your company is today? So X is the governance and policies, and Y is your competency. Like, where have you been in your AI journey? All right, keep it coming. I see most of the companies are now in this quadrant. Good, good, good. I'm gonna spend maybe another 30 seconds here. All right. So I think that the most of the companies are in here in this quadrant. So meaning that we have kind of not policies in place, and we are not very far ahead in the AI competency quadrant. So what does that mean, or kind of where do we want to be? Ideally, we want to be on the other side of this. Ideally, we want to be on the top right corner, because if you have too much innovation going on and you have no governance, this is a big liability for the company. But if you don't have much, you're not competent in AI, and it's not also don't have policies and things in place that are implementing, this is also a big risk for the company. We are kind of staying behind. But where we want to be is we want to find the right balance between the policy and governance and innovation and strategy. So this is ideally, this is where we want to be. And there are ways that we can go about that. So one is kind of having an AI strategy and executing a strategy and moving forward. And the other way is creating policies in place and start implementing these policies so that you're innovating in a guardrail, in an area. You establish that guardrail and help people to march in that area. So to help you with your AI policy, we created a AI governance best practices. It's more like a template. It's not a policy. It's a template. And we break down the AI risk into unbiased and fairness, human AI collaboration, privacy and IP protection, data poisoning and manipulation, transparency, explainability, security, and data governance. And for each of these sections, there are guidelines that we put as a suggestion and template. You can review those, and then you can start, deleting others or copy and pasting the ones that you think applicable to your organization, and you can use that as your policy and guideline and start training your employees on that. All right, with that, I'm going to show you a couple of things here. So the most important ones is this one. This is my contact information. You can email me and connect with me on LinkedIn. And this is a QR code that you can scan and you can download the slides. I'm gonna give us a few hours, and then we're gonna finalize this, or maybe 24 hours. We're gonna finalize the slides and email to anyone who is interested in that. Make sure that in the section that says, where did you hear from us? You put one of these three organizations, amazing organizations, by the way. And you can put it all, or you can put one, and this way we know which slides we should send it to you. So last one, we have some case studies from the companies that been into their AI journeys, and they shared some of their lessons learned and best practices. This is all in our free resources section. We have workbooks and things like that for free that you can just download today and get more comfortable and advance in your AI journey. So one question, and then we go to a Q&A. So your question right now is, and I'm gonna go to Menti in a moment, what's been your biggest takeaway today?
Maddie, just to let some of the folks know that are on the call that if you missed that original slide that had the QR code to scan for a copy of the slides, I did put that in the chat. So you can open up your chat and you should see that link. And I did test it, so it does work.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Amazing. All right, keep it coming. I'm gonna take off this join instructions, and you can love people's. I'm seeing lots of great, awesome. The learning about how AI could be valuable, could be, need to expand our AI governance. You need to start exploring AI as a company, most definitely. Coding is available to all firm level. Yeah, this is the new capabilities that who knew 20 years ago, that now companies have additional resources, which is their coding agents. Wide range of capabilities. Amazing. Thank you all. See, all is coming. We need to act fast. Focus on the specific problems. No fear, dive in. Amazing. AI is here to stay. Lots of opportunities. Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm going to now switch to the Q&A part. And all right, so this is the Q&A section. Thanks so much all for your contribution. You can scan this QR code and you can start. Maybe I give you like 1 minute to uh, choose which question you like to be answered. And then maybe Rob and I can start tackling the first question that is in front of us with 11 likes. Okay, so the first question is, how would you recommend to start learning about AI without much prior coding experience, and how to integrate it in our daily workflow? Any examples would be nice. Thank you. Learning about AI without much prior coding experience. So there are kind of different levels that you can think about. One is a general understanding of AI. And if you like, when I wrote Augmented, the first half of the book is all about, what is AI? I explain AI as being like a tree, has, roots in science and so on. And what are each branches of the AI tree? And so there are things that you can do without any coding, and that could give you some general understanding of AI. And at the same time, we are getting into an era where you can just go to ChatGPT and kind of ask ChatGPT to do certain things and generate the code for you, and kind of become your coach in learning how to code if you want to. So you can kind of turn that into your coding coach, and you kind of start asking questions. And imagine how was that before? We had to go to school, ask a professor, find it, TA, but now you have that coach available to you directly in your browser. So my suggestion is, starting from general understanding of AI, start then looking into how it could be apply to your work and start kind of maybe learning a little bit about coding and start doing some experimentation. Rob, do you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I started, taking some short courses, on Udemy about, what's machine learning and, algorithms. And, once realized that it was, again, at the simplest form of statistics, then I got more comfortable with what was coming out of AI.
Yeah, absolutely. That's being comfortable is so important. And yeah, you brought a really good point. Like you got to in your journey get to a point that you become more comfortable. And especially in our field, you got to always double check the results of AI system. So let's go to the second question. It has 21 likes. Is AI currently being used to improve compliance checking with building codes and seismic design regulations in structural engineering? Rob, you want to take this one first?
I'm not aware of anything that is doing that now, but I do know that there are some AI tools that are doing compliance checking outside of structural engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Codecomply.ai is one of these tools. The other tool that is based in San Francisco is, what is it called? Escape my mind. Um, it will come back. But yeah, there are tools. If you go to the website, is AEC Plus Tech. AEC Plus Tech is a website that you can check and has a curated list of some of these AI tools available in the market. And you can take a look at maybe which one could be relevant to you and your business. All right. What are some red flags to look for when reviewing AI software privacy policies? Ooh. Well, I can start with this statement that we may use your data to improve our products and services. And so this is kind of the short version. And then we may share that with our affiliates and so on. So this is one thing that we highly encourage AC companies to do is that you need to remember back in the days when you just these terms and conditions were updated really fast and you just click and accept. These days you need to read that and you need to have a team inside your company that are very comfortable and competent in doing those. If you don't have it, get a legal counsel because these privacy policies are now super important to validate and check. Rob, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, that statement that you just said is shows up in a lot of software agreements. So yes, I agree. I think that language will be scrutinized more and more these days with AI, for sure.
Absolutely. Note taker is a good example of that. So people want to test AI, so they bring a free note taker, and guess what? If you're not paying for it, it's probably they're selling your data, and this is data that you have in your meetings. Some of them might be related to clients, so you really need to have a policy around that. We have a guideline for note takers. If you're interested, send me a LinkedIn message, and I'll send that to you. All right, we get another question done. How can AI assist in optimizing a social design, particularly in earlier stage decision making for complex buildings or infrastructure? Rob, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, I can take a stab at that one. I think the idea of AI, if you had, you know, um, design solutions, sort of at your fingertips, very similar to like a, uh, pre-solved solutions that you can then very quickly pick from, as opposed to, doing the calculation for each one of those. it may not be 100% correct, but if it's close to getting these sort of qualitative comparisons between the different systems, that's a great starting point for particularly early design phases.
Yeah, absolutely. If an AI solution comes up with 95% accuracy, because you're comparing relatively different things together, so it
Right.
really doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna do the detailed design and everything. So this was actually a topic for my PhD. So we actually helped the owner in LA to find the best design alternative for a 25-story hotel that they were building. So they had three different configuration of design, three different materials for the structure, and it took the company, a architecture firm, their consultant, 6 months to almost design, two alternatives out of nine. But I created AI system that could, in a week, that could analyze all of those and based on the actual cost of construction, come up with the results. So there are papers around it. It's called surrogate modeling, and you can start kind of training and creating your own AI system and engine to do that for your organization. All right. Guess we have 1 minute. Shall we give it back to Michelle to close us off?
Yes, I can do that. Thank you, Mehdi. And thank you to our moderator, Rob Otani, for taking the time to join us today. We look forward to seeing you next month for installation number 3 of our joint leadership summer series on artificial intelligence. That will be Tuesday, August 26th, titled AI Developments That Will Shape the Practice of Structural Engineering. And this will be presented by SEI. Those speakers are Christopher Dane with Thornton Tomasetti and MZ Nazar, Assistant Professor at Clemson University and AI Research Institute for Science and Engineering. On behalf of CASE, NCSEA, and SEI, I would like to thank you all for your participation in today's events. This concludes today's program. Thank you and have a great day.